In this lesson, we'll add the brake calipers and brake lines. So the brake calipers are going to be connected up here to these brake rotors. So in this particular case, they're made up of these kind of cylinder shapes that are connected. So this is the piece that we want to create. Now, we'll have time to create the basic shape. You can go in here and get as detailed as you like. But let's go ahead and start just by dropping in some cylinders. So I'm going to drop in a cylinder right in here. Okay, add a little bit of thickness to that. Let's go ahead and bring it on the outside of this rotor. And I want to make sure that I'm on the default layer here so I don't have anything frozen. Okay, so I'm going to give this a little bit of thickness here. Okay, let's go ahead and modify the parameters of this. So I'm going to go ahead and take the height segments down, and I've got 12 segments here. So let me go ahead and turn off the background for a second. I'm going to go ahead and change this down to 8. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and now just kind of duplicate this. So I'll hold down Shift, drag this up, and bring it over. Okay, and I'll put these faces right together. So I want to have a couple of cylinders here, okay, right next to one another. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this to an editable poly. Okay, let's go ahead and attach this first cylinder. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just delete these polygons right inside here. Okay, and then I'll select these points and we'll just weld those together. Okay, so we're going to go down to Edit, Vertices, Weld, apply that, and let's just make our way around this cylinder. Okay, so these are now connected together. Alright, now we need to add some geometry in here. Oh, now we don't have anything going on. So let's go ahead and create some geometry using cut. So we'll take it from here straight across to there. Do the same thing here. Okay, can take those points and just move that back a little bit so that's kind of nice and straight. Okay, and then we can just come in and connect that across using cut. Come in and just come straight across there and connect that up. Same thing over here. Okay, and then up here as well. So once we get that geometry built across there, okay, the next thing we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a line right across here. So let's go ahead and take this ring, do connect, and we'll add a segment here. Okay, let's go ahead and take these back polygons from the second layer here, and we're going to go ahead and just extrude those out. Okay, so we'll go ahead and extrude by local normal. Take the amount down to something a little bit more reasonable. Okay, and then we'll take these points that are inside here and move these out. Okay, so you end up with something more like that. Okay, all right, and we can then go ahead and take these polygons here, this strip going across the top. Okay, we'll go ahead and extrude that out. Give it a kind of a smaller extrude there. Okay, and then we can go ahead and just inset that just a small amount. Okay, and then to keep the hardness of these, we can go in here and start to add some resolution in here. Maybe a couple that we then slide out. Okay, maybe the same thing down here. Okay, so you end up with something like that. Okay, and you can tweak the shape of that if you want, if you have time. So if we smooth that out, we get something like that. Okay. And then up here, if we want to go ahead and take this polygon here, we'll go ahead and inset that and extrude it out. Okay, we can connect our brake line up to there. Alright, so let's give this a little bit more thickness. Just generally scale it up a little bit. Okay. Go to our left-hand view and just check for general placement. So it looks pretty good there. Okay, I want to go ahead and mirror this over. Okay, so I want to go ahead and mirror this without using the working plane. I'll create a copy, and I'm going to use the offset this time. And let's go ahead and choose the Z-axis. And we'll offset it to the other side of the rotor. Say OK to that. So that'll give us both sides of this. Just stick those right up next to the rotor there. All right. And then we want to take both of these. Let's go ahead and attach them to one another. Okay. And now this time I will use the working pivot. And this time I'll go ahead and mirror it over to the other side. So we got one on each side. Now the brake lines, it's going to go from here up through here, but it's not. You're not going to do the same thing over on the other side. This one's actually going to continue up and around the wheel and connect over to the other side. Okay, so we'll use a very similar technique to what we used before. Just go to Create, Shapes, NURBS Curve, and let's create a point curve, and let's start it down here and go ahead and just continue this up into here. Okay. So we'll need to bring this over so that it kind of intersects with our caliper there. Okay, we've already got this rendering turned on. So let me go ahead and turn off the working pivot. Select a point. Okay, let's go ahead and just modify this so that it's coming straight in there. Okay, so you get something like that. And like I said, you can spend as much time as you want here adding detail to this. We'll try to get this done in a timely manner so that it still looks good. Okay, we can go ahead and bring this out in 3 dimensions rather than just having it on one flat plane. Okay, and this can come up back behind here and up inside there. So if you wanted to, you could make this one line with the one that we brought down. Yeah, go ahead and connect that up there. Okay, we now need to create another one, so we can go to kind of our front and create another point curve, and this time we'll go from here over to the other side. Okay, and then we can modify this, move it up into position, kind of rotate that. Okay, and then we'll just kind of shape that a little bit. So right now you can see it's intersecting with the wheel. So we'll take all of our points and just move those out, kind of back up in there. And you don't have to be too exact with this because you want it to look kind of a little bit messy. You don't want it to be totally exact, but you want it to look like that's a way that that particular type of material would curve around so that it doesn't look too stiff and it doesn't look too floppy. Okay, and then you could go ahead and just connect it up there with that little nozzle there. Alright, so, and you could tweak the radius of those as well. Okay, they look a little bit thin to me, so I'll go ahead and dial that up a little bit. Same thing down here. Dial that up a little bit. Okay, and then what you want to do is just either rebuild the caliper for the back side, or just reuse that and bring it in there, and that line can go down through here. So you can go ahead and add that along the rotor in the back. Okay, so now that we've got the brake calipers and brake lines done, let's go ahead and add the rear sprocket, start to add the chain. So we'll go ahead and do that in the next lesson.